democracy. Tonight's stirring hymn was the superb anthem played on a grand church organ by Julian Phelona, granting us the serenity to accept battles that we cannot win, ammunition enough to just be at that until the bitter end, and wisdom enough to know when to call a stratagem in at her feet to ensure that if we are going down, at the very least, we will not be lonely in hell. Can I get an amen, my siblings in liberty? The top news of the evening is that the Ministry of Defense and Truth released a statement earlier today explaining why only garden variety chargers count for the major order kill quota. This actually has a lot to do with outdated military defense software, as the criteria for counting enemy kills was written at a time when there was only one variety of charger. Sadly, the bugs have evolved faster than our code writers, and the people in charge of this kind of thing are terrified to touch it, lest they break 14 other seemingly unrelated things by accident. Fortunately, or unfortunately, depending on your perspective, Gacrux is showing unusual terminate growth in that the density of the charger population has increased to 750% of normal, which is strange. With only a few hours left on the clock, our kill tally is only 2.3% behind schedule, which accounts for about 115,000 and some change in chargers. Considering there's 23,000 of you currently on planet, that's only 5 chargers for each of you before tomorrow morning. Hardly a challenge for shining paragons of democracy such as yourselves, right? In other news, literally so, it's Monday evening, and you know what that means. A new edition of the Super Citizens Bulletin has crossed my desk. Those of you tuning in on YouTube will also have accompanying visuals of pages, but if you're just listening on WAFR, I will provide the role of humble narrator for your listening pleasure. The first page goes into detail about the newly created, and certainly not in any way doomed, Tyranny Park 2, Democracy Finds a Way, as well as the new Super Destroyer fleet expansion. We're gonna need lots of room for when those boys in green arrive in just a little over a week. My, how time flies when you're blasting bugs. After a heroic campaign, Krumsuka has been fully liberated of the insectoid scourge. Termitid nests have been purged, the skies are once again free for democratic travel, and the air rings with sounds of victory. Construction crews moved in to establish a new and far more secure E710 farm, one that will fuel the engines of liberty for generations to come. Alongside the farm, shipyards now hum with the assembly of a powerful fleet of brand new super destroyers. The strongest fighting force in the galaxy is about to grow stronger still. The enemies of freedom should start saying their goodbyes. Nearly a year has passed since the Terminative Research Preserve and the wholesome family attraction that was Tyranny Park 1 was destroyed in a bout of illegal, unprovoked fascist aggression. While technically true, the actual root cause was that no one was checking to see if Termitids, you know, a well-known alien burrowing species, were burrowing out of the crust of the planet until the entire park collapsed into a massive sinkhole, and those unlucky few that survived were quickly torn into bags of shredded cheese by, quite literally, millions of extremely angry Termitids who were just as surprised to see them there as the survivors were to be there. Anyway, many of us hold dear memories of truly democratic big tyrant hunts, where our children could send the terrible Termitids to the great refinery in the sky, but reminisce no more. For Tyranny Park shall return in Boar Rock. Bigger, broader, better, with updated technology, improved turrets, and immensely democratic 5 fail-safe nuclear containment warheads. Yeah, the first Tyranny Park had those too, but then the bugs chewed on them until they didn't work anymore. Once again, our children shall enjoy popular games such as Scuttle the Scavenger, Stalk the Stalker, and see amazing captured specimens up close, like Vlad the Impaler. I don't know, fam. Seeing a stalker up close does not sound like that much fun to me. Back on my first deployments on Elmire when I was a humble rookie, I first saw a stalker decloak literally right in my face. Sparing you the gory details, but I ended up needing a change of armor afterwards. My stealthy adversary needed a change of face. I was using a breaker at the time. Page 2 goes into the overclocked rail cannons that we all enjoyed last week and reads as such. In a well-needed show of absolute democracy, the Helldivers swept the floor on the automaton front, liberating the entire nanosector in a week, per the instructions of the last major order. Not only that, but they successfully made the bots soak their figurative underwear in oil with the unprecedented use of heavy ordnance, eliminating 2.5 billion, there's a typo here, troopers using the orbital rail cannon strike. The goal of this MO was to shove our superior firepower and resources in the face of socialist tyrants, destroying some of their smallest units with our most precise and powerful military assets. Page 3 goes into a lovely new feature, Dear Lady Liberty, the perfect thing to have with one's morning coffee. Or rather, in my case, the new C4 Sour Apple Experimental Infusion Stim, because I like my morning caffeination like I like my autocannons, potent and highly lethal to other beings. It reads as such. Dear Lady Liberty, when filling out the CO1 permits, we meant to put 001 as the number of designated children, but I accidentally wrote 010 children instead. Now my husband is frustrated, and it could take 180 days or more to sign another one. What do? Sign, in democratic distress, Jessica. And the response to Jessica's unique problem is really something. Dear Jessica, the beauty of love and work for the galactic government is never an accident. You could fill out your CE01.5 correction form, or cancel the form process and start over, but sometimes liberty shines through in mysterious ways. Although a scourge, termites, I assume this is a typo that is supposed to read terminids, are fascinating in how they propagate and breed across the galaxy. They select a particular enzyme that allows them to breed quickly. Now, I'm not saying that you should go to an E710 farm, all in Tyranny Part 2, purchase several gallons of breeding hormones from the park manager, Linda, and spike your husband's charger roast while he's still in bed, but it might be high time that you injected some managed democracy into your relationship. Breeding enzyme, huh? Hey, Mercy, are you back online? Could you just, do the thing?
Commencing FTL jump to the Bohr Rock System.
Thanks, Betty. Those of you watching this on YouTube are also presented with a QR code that you can scan quickly and easily to submit your own questions to Lady Liberty. Now, page 4 covers something very near and dear to my heart. The Freedom Alliance secures the airwaves. A decisive strike for truth and liberty. The Freedom Alliance has completed Operation Troubleshooting, securing our citizens' right to ministry-approved information across the galaxy. Over 238 illegally operating broadcast stations were redemocratized and proudly repurposed to transmit on WFAR 437.7, Super's most trusted radio frequency. I guess the Alliance can't really do what I normally do to get my broadcast across the galaxy, which is to hijack a small portion of each Super Destroyer's communication array to act as a signal booster, and then rebroadcast my illegal pirate signals straight to the ears of every Helldiver in the fleet. As much as the Ministry of Truth might want to shut me down, I don't think they can without turning off the comms grid for the entire Liberation fleet, so, I win again. The operation unfolded in 2 phases. Phase 1 saw the Freedom Alliance storm and liberate rogue stations, dismantling hostile control while keeping the structures intact, and eliminating spore spewers whose contaminating clouds threatened to distort the pure and loyal signal. Phase 2 shifted to the automaton front, where Freedom Alliance fleets executed surgical strikes on over 400 signal jammers, ensuring uninterrupted, crystal clear transmission from Super to every helmet receiver in the galaxy. Now, with the airwaves cleansed, WFAR 437.7 delivers a 24/7 Twitch broadcast of up-to-the-second galactic war updates, spirited live music hosted by the ever-charming DJ Liberty, and stirring news interventions from none other than our own steadfast comrade, Pondera the Radio Angel. In the battle for hearts, minds, and ears, this was a resounding victory. I'll say, sometimes I turn on WFAR for background music while I'm cleaning my house, and it's actually kind of surreal to hear my own voice from another room while I'm doing the laundry. The final page for this week goes into the kill streak of the week, starring Bald Chris, one of the Super Citizen Bulletin's correspondents, racking up an impressive 665 kills this week in a single mission. My numerically obsessed husband will shed many manly tears over that. So close to greatness. Think you can do better, Helldivers? Prove it. Send the SCV your kill scores over Discord today. Now, right there is where the WFAR broadcast is going to end, because I've got a question for you, Helldivers. I know that we've all heard that artificial intelligence is going to put us all out of a job, that it is terrible for the environment, that it's unreliable, and morally worse than German Mustache Man and the Unabomber put together. Yeah, I've heard all of that before. What if there was a place that was actually friendly and accepting to experimenting with that kind of thing, where you could go and practice creativity free of judgment over the tool set that you used, and we explored exactly what this AI stuff can really do. For some time now, people have been asking for a Discord server for Radio Angel-related shenanigans, and lack of time and moderation know-how have always stopped me. However, due to recent, shall we say, less than tolerant circumstances affecting a good personal friend of mine, said talent has expressed an interest in creating such a space where the words freedom of expression, tolerance, and creativity don't end with the words, I disagree with you. Where you aren't demonized for simply having an interest in new technology that is only going to get better and more omnipresent as it becomes more useful. 3 or 4 years ago, none of what we're seeing today was possible. But we are hurtling headlong into the Star Trek era at breakneck speed. When it comes to generative AI chatbots, if you combine that technology with virtual reality, you could have a working holodeck customized to your tastes, not in 10 years, not in 8 years, but tomorrow. And we all just want to let mega corporations have all the fun, hoard all the power, wealth, and creativity that this technology makes possible like dragons, just like they always have, to let them exploit us and squeeze us for every last drop, because the zero-tolerance policy many internet circles have adopted toward AI use makes them outrageously vulnerable to being utterly bodied by it, because they have no understanding of how it actually works. Are we really going to surrender the future that easily? Let me give you an example of what I'm trying to say. Someone entering in copyrighted character information into a chatbot will not help that bot train itself on that character. Models don't work like that. It's like modifying a game. You can't change the files while it's in use. It's not possible due to how the software is structured. However, if you published a book, chances are pretty good that it has already been used without your permission, compensation, or even knowledge in training data for large-scale AI. Lawyers are fighting to stop this kind of thing as we speak. But if corporations can survive the fines and still turn more of a profit from doing this, it's not a punishment, just the cost of doing business. For many authors, it's already too late. You lost a battle you didn't even know you were having. Do you really think these giant megacore publishers are your friends? Do you really think that they will pay you an instant more than they have to? In this context, is the user playing with a local AI model really the enemy you need to fight? Think about it. We'll be waiting. For liberty, for freedom, for democracy, and for the future.